passed away today. He's made his transition. He had been battling prostate cancer, and today he succumbed.
Yeah. Just a week after the holiday.
Yes, and then right before his birthday. His birthday's on January the 30th. Yeah.
Apparently this has been going on for some time now.
It has been.
I didn't realize. I saw NBC News said he passed. He was in Malibu. I didn't realize he was stayed out there.
Mm-hmm. He has a place in Atlanta and one in California. So he's been kind of bi-coastal, you could say.
Bi-coastal.
For quite a while.
Right. And got his name from the church.
Yes.
How about that?
Yeah, his first name from the church where Martin Luther King pastored. His first pastoral assignment was Dexter Baptist, and then his middle name Scott is his mother's maiden name.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Dexter Scott King.
They had some quotes from different sources. One was his wife, Leah Weber King. Mm-hmm. She said in a statement through the King Center that he had
transitioned peacefully.
Yep, out in Malibu, and
yes. In his sleep at home.
Yep, and gave everything and battled this terrible disease until the end.
Right.
As with all challenges in his life, he faced this hurdle with bravery and might.
Yes.
And then his sister Bernice had said, words can't express the heartbreak. I'm praying for strength to get through this very difficult time. And then his older brother,
Martin III.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. I was just watching a special yesterday with Martin's daughter.
Yes, Yolanda.
Yeah.
Yes, little Yolanda has written a book.
Little Dynamo. That's what the story.
Yes.
She actually read part of the book during the interview.
Yes.
And anyway, but Martin Luther King III said the sudden shock is devastating. It's hard to have the right words at a moment like this. We ask for your prayers for the entire King family. And so that's the oldest surviving child.
Right. Yolanda, the eldest of the King children, she passed away a few years ago. So
2007.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Coretta was 2006.
Yes.
I saw something else too about Dexter having gone to see James Earl Ray.
I remember that. He did an on-camera interview with James Earl Ray, the supposed murderer of his father, Martin Luther King Jr.
I've had fantasies about doing that with Dylan Roof. You think I've lost my mind?
Well, probably someone needs to speak with him.
Yeah.
I think that perhaps there needs to be a period of time, I'm not sure exactly what that span of time is, to give him some time to mature into himself and be able to see more critically his role and the value, if any, he can now see in murdering 9 people at a Bible study in church. Yeah. What impact was he hoping for, and what impact did it really make?
Well, some of the stuff that they found on his computer or on an internet page or something like that, he was trying to incite a race war.
Yes, nuts.
So, but
yeah, but with James Earl Ray, a lot of people really question if he was the actual murderer, and Dexter King was one who questioned that along with his family members. So he went in there, and I thought it was just really a brave thing to do, to represent his family and to go and sit across from a man who, again, was accused and convicted of the murder of his father, but he told him he didn't believe that he had done it.
And from what I read, Dexter King believed him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, he really did.
That was in 1997.
Yeah.
It's amazing how the time goes by.
Right, right.
Well,
But he had been over the King Center for a period of time, and he had been acting even. He was in the Rosa Parks story that Angela Bassett was starring in, and he played his father.
mhm.
And he looked so much like his
Sure
father.
looked like
he was
him.
just a spitting image.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Morehouse man like his father,
Mhm.
and we attended Morehouse at the same time.
Right.
Yeah, I was.
Did you?
Yeah,
Wow.
I was not, of course, enrolled there. I was enrolled at Morris Brown College, which was one of the fellow colleges there in the Atlanta University system, which allowed me to take courses at Morehouse. And being that it was an all-male school, and I wasn't crazy, I went to Morehouse.
Yeah.
Yes, to try to imagine
Did
what
you-
it would be like to
did you
be
meet
the only
anybody
woman in
good?
the world.
You meet
Oh,
anybody good over there?
I mean, it was amazing. I would sit in class, and I was the only woman there.
Yeah.
So every time I raised my hand or did anything, the rest of the class, what is she going to say? It's like E.F. Hutton.
Right. Well, rest in power, Dexter King.
Absolutely.
62.
What a life! What a life! He leaves behind no children. He leaves, as you said, his wife and his sister, his youngest sister Bernice, and his brother Martin Luther King III. But that family has really faced a great deal of challenges and hardships. His grandmother being shot and killed, and in the Ebenezer Baptist Church during service while at the organ. His mother, of course, preceded him, his father and his grandfather. I met Daddy King.
Really?
Do they know it's Daddy King?
Mm.
Yes, Martin Luther King, the first.
Mhm.
Yeah, senior. And he was wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's special.
Oh, he was. He was great.
Not too many people saying that.
Well, they should. He was his own man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was grumpy in a really cute way. He was adorable. Yeah. That's why I think everyone called him Daddy King.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful man.
Monty, what are we going to do about this water? I mean, is there any way to talk about this water situation in Jackson? I want to say objectively. Now that's hard to do because you
Right,
have some
because
personal.
Yes.
I mean, I have too, but not
No,
recently.
Right. Yeah. Well, I always am impacted by this. I have the boil water notice,
Yeah.
and before that, I lost hot water. The cold water got down to a trickle.
Yeah.
And it's now when it just gets down to a trickle, that's a blessing because at least I have something to work with.
Right.
But it's amazing. And people are saying, well, we're not equipped here in Mississippi to handle bad weather. Well, we better hurry up and become equipped for it. This is not going away. We have climate change, and so we're going to see extreme weather more often now than years past. So we have to get ready for it.
Right.
And the city wasn't built properly. The pipes are too close to the ground level, and that's causing problems. I mean, in the summertime, you can't even get cold water out of your faucet.
So the ground itself is so warm by that time.
Right. And so you get this kind of lukewarm water and then very hot water coming out of the hot tap, and it's unbelievable.
Mm.
And I've never lived anywhere where this was the case. I've never lived anywhere where power outages are so common.
Yeah, and just if there's anybody tuning in that's new, that's not familiar, we've just had this horrible, as Joni said, it's just the way the water and sewer infrastructure was put in. It's number one, it's ancient. In some cases, they're talking about 100-year-old pipes. In other cases, the locations and stuff. But
Right.
this all came to a head really last fall, end of August, September last year,
Yes.
when the system just totally buckled. And you also have the plants, the two water plants for Jackson, Mississippi, are on one side of the city,
Right.
and that doesn't correlate with the highest usage. So South and West Jackson are the farthest distance from the plants,
Right.
and so that's why the pressure becomes so important.
Yeah.
And folks there are typically losing, having their service impacted much more than the folks, in North and East Jackson.
Yes.
So it's a tough situation. But now we have this third-party administrator, federally appointed, have all kinds of work going on.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, they did some type of an assessment of, to find out a survey to find out about these pipes and the sizes and the different locations and so forth. So, progress is being made, but it's not going to happen overnight. So they've been at it now for, I guess, a solid year.
Sure.
And that guy said he's not leaving until the job is done, and so he's not trying to hurry Alan out of it or whatever. And then he also, there's been this piece recently where we keep hearing about misinformation.
Right.
So, making it sound like it's a lot worse than it is, but you had personal experience. It was bad.
It was bad. It was bad. I just, it's aggravating for me.
Yeah.
And I know that people on the north side, northeast, don't have these issues, at least not as frequently or as devastating as it is where I am. But we are just being punished and pummeled.
Yeah.
And it's hard to continue to be patient. Like I said, if you've lived anyplace else, this just doesn't happen.
Yeah, people seem like more responsible, take care of the infrastructure.
Yeah.
And here you just, we know that as far back as 15, 18 years ago, requests were being put in, formal plans were submitted in an effort to get bonds for the money to do the upgrades, and perpetually denied by the state, which I don't know how many other municipalities or cities in Mississippi are being denied their infrastructure resources.
Right. Well, we know that Madison and Flowood
they're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just fine. So just I just can't understand stuff like that. And to have the federal government step in. I mean, if the picture wasn't clear, the federal government step in and pick up the tab for this and send the money directly to the city of Jackson. So that's the trust and confidence they have in the state. So they already have the history.
Yes.
They know.
You can't send funds to Mississippi intended to be funneled to Jackson.
They're going to take their cut.
Yeah. 100%.
If they could get away with it. Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
something close to it.
Sure.
So we keep suffering. And really, this is an issue that should have been taken care of 50 years ago. They knew then that what was coming down the pike, and what could have happened is we could have had a gradual replacement of the pipes.
Right.
Yeah. So that we could have avoided all of this. But it was a case of kicking the can down the street. Every person, I think, in power just said, "I'll let the next person handle it."
Right. So, and you starve this community of an economic base. Yeah. We have so many state own properties here, of course, being the capital city, so there's no tax revenue that's derived from that.
Right.
And then you have the enormous white flight that took place, and then you have other flight that has taken place over time. And so Jackson's a hub, it seemed like, for people to come and make their money.
Right.
But then they go elsewhere with it.
Right. Right.
And so we just miss out. And you just know that over time, some of that is people's individual choices, but the deck is just stacked.
Right. Right. And really, I think that people should have to pay to work in Jackson and take their money elsewhere. If you
User's fee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I like it. It's interesting, Monty, because one of the other stories, to update the folks on tonight has to do with the airport.
Okay.
And for either 6.5 to 7 years now, there's been an attempt to take away the resource of the Jackson Airport and turn it into a regional, so everybody else can get their hands on that, on those monies.
Right.
And this is now before the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. But I just, without getting into that just yet, I mean the idea that first they tried to take over the school system,
Right.
then they tried to take over the airport. It's still going on.
Right.
Over 6 years, if you can imagine the legal costs and all that.
Right.
And now they went after the 1% sales tax, but then they backed away on that. I guess the public sentiment was so.
Okay.
But they did change the panel.
They did an end run on that. Yeah.
They did the end run on that, so they changed the panel around.
So they're still being able to siphon off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the way that they did it is that Jackson has 2 votes, and then the governor has a vote, the lieutenant governor has a vote, the Speaker of the House has a vote, and then there's one other that has, I think maybe Madison or some official, but at any rate, what it does is, no matter what Jackson says, they're going to be outvoted, and everybody else is a Republican.
And they tried to go for the whole thing, but that didn't work, so they reconfigure the board.
Right, so that they end up getting it anyway.
And then and then this, and of course they tried to. They want to take over the whole water and sewer system, and that's not going to happen now.
Right.
But at every turn, they just they don't reach a hand out and say, let me try and help.
Right.
What can we do to help? Right. Or, geez, it looks like you're struggling over here with this. Let's sit down and see if we can't. I've got some resources. Let's sit down and see. They don't think that way. They just think takeover.
Right, and see. Jackson has to wonder about all of this because, see, right now we have had assistance from the federal government. Michael Regan, who is the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency head, and the Biden administration have seen what's going on and decided to sort of jump over the heads of the state leadership.
Right.
But what will happen if the leadership in Washington becomes Republican? What fate will Jackson face if that happens? Mm-hmm. Because, chances are it will never see it then.
I like to think this is just petty cash for them.
Well, yeah.
It sure came down to us quickly.
Yes.
I mean, we had money in the bank by end of November, beginning of December.
Sure. Mm-hmm. We did.
So.
But if that leadership changes in Washington, what's going to become of us?
Yeah.
Yeah. People need to think about that.
And do you think it is with this misinformation, rumors of misinformation and all, and Ted Hennepin saying that he's contacted law enforcement to ask them to investigate where all these rumors are coming from, who's generating them? Do you think that's a real possibility? Do you think it's just something got overblown? Do you think there would be people, in other words, because there's been some people that have balked about him,
Yes.
this white man from out of town,
Right.
regardless of his long experience, which I happen to know about personally,
Okay.
from up in Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want him in charge of it. So, do you think that's possible?
Well, he is an outsider. And so at this point, if he's calling for an investigation, maybe that'll be a good thing. Maybe we can come up with some answers that we don't have currently.
You would think that no matter who's in charge, if Mickey Mouse, well, that's
Yeah.
probably not a good pick nowadays, but, if whoever it was in charge and making progress to get things fixed, you'd think that would, to me, that would be so much more important than any kind of personalities or
Right.
something like that.
Right.
But I would hate to think that somebody is actually sabotaging. They gave the example of, if you're telling people that your water is going to go out,
Yes.
and 12,000 people are going to be without water by tomorrow afternoon,
Right.
what's the first thing everybody do? Go fill up the tub, and then that's sucking the pressure out of the whole
Right.
system. And
Right. Yeah.
so-
That's what they did.
Mm.
That's what they did.
Well, Monty, I think that's it for the first segment.
Okay.
And so we'll dip out for some commercials here, and then we'll come back to you. We got about 3 more items on the list in our second 20-minute segment. So pay close attention to these commercials. We'll see you soon.
Do you have something to say? Do you want your voice heard? Join the We Believe Global lineup. Be the star of your own show. For more info, call 800-492-5186, option number 1, or visit online at webelieve.global.
Are you dreaming of becoming an entrepreneur, but you're not sure where or how to start? At Entrepreneurs Academy 101, our online program will guide you step by step on how to start and grow your own business. We offer courses such as how to write a business plan, how to create a budget, and so much more. Our online training program is designed for you to learn at your own pace, and there's no set order to complete this program. Because our academy is online, you have the choice to learn with a group, with friends, or individually. Upon completion of the entire curriculum, you will receive a certificate of achievement to acknowledge that you have completed the training needed to become a successful entrepreneur. So enroll today to design the life that you love. Contact your entrepreneur coach, Brenda Myers, at 601-672-0695 or visit our website at www.entrepreneursacademy101.com for more information.
And welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Sizzling in Mississippi. Just trying to run through some different things that are going on around our area, or things that impact us in this area. And Monty, this next one, they held a special session of the legislature inside the normal one.
Yes.
On purpose,
Right.
so that they couldn't have any detraction from it, so they couldn't get amendments in or anything like that.
Yes.
So the long and the short of it, they called it the Poppy Project.
Okay.
I still can't figure that out. They called it the Poppy Project, and they passed giving $350 million to 3 different companies. One, a Chinese part owner of this company. These are to make batteries for electric vehicles. So this is going to be in Marshall County, Mississippi, which is a solid 3-hour drive from here, from Jackson. And really, it's going to be located at the intersection of Highway 72 and 302, which is, by my best estimation, not 3 miles, maybe 2.5 miles from the Tennessee-Mississippi state line. So, and once again, well east of I-55.
Yeah.
I-55 kind of takes this lazy drive through the state, and it seemed like everything to the west of the state, where you have the Mississippi Delta, where you have an awful lot of black population On the western side of the state, not that there isn't black population in other places, there is. This is Mississippi. There's no state in the country with a higher black population than Mississippi. But the economics, they always put to the east.
Right.
It's like they're intentionally depriving.
Right.
They're not going to put a Continental Tire in the Delta.
No,
They're
where
just
it's
not-
most needed.
They're just not going to do that. They're
Right.
not going to have that economic engine that can help black families lead a higher quality of life. It's not there. It's not front of mind. It's not
Right.
even back of mind for them.
Well, in order to maintain the status quo, they can't do that because if they put a large corporation like Continental Tire
Yeah.
west of 55, then people will actually be able to leave plantations.
Right.
They'll
right,
stop scrap picking cotton.
Right. Right.
They will be able to live out in decent homes instead of living in these mobile homes that just were devastated by the tornado.
Right.
Places like Rolling Fork and certain Silver City.
Right.
So, in order to make sure that poverty is maintained and low education, no availability is maintained, in order to make sure that health care is poor, then they cannot offer any assistance to uplifting the people out of poverty.
It's almost like you're saying poverty's big business
It is.
in a twisted kind of way.
It certainly is.
So 350 million, and they say that's going to bring in 2,000 jobs.
Yeah,
They said that an average pay would be $66,000.
right.
And our esteemed governor,
Yeah.
who I like to refer to as Mr. Governor, he's saying that he really believes people gonna move from different parts of the country to Mississippi in order to work at this EV battery plant.
No, they won't move to Mississippi. They'll just move to Tennessee or just drive from Tennessee because Memphis is right there. So it'll be sort of suburban type of thing.
And he's trying to knock out the sales tax here, not the grocery tax, mind you, but the sales tax. But I think they've already done that in Tennessee. So why would you?
Right. What's the attraction? Yeah. I mean, that's not enough anyway. That's
Yeah.
not enough. Income tax.
Yeah.
Yeah. Personal income tax. Knock that out when we need it for our budget.
So that people want to come and live here when you get the highest grocery tax in the country.
Right.
No,
Right.
they're not.
Lowest literacy rate.
Right.
It's and that's why people in the Delta don't vote.
So today, it was a little something on this caught my eye.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, it seemed like all the Democrats voted for it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's an approach that they use when they know that there's no chance. I guess they just feel like, well, if I'm going to go along with you on this so it looks good for you guys, give me a little skin in the game over here on my issue. You think that's why they do it?
Perhaps but is it effective?
No. Well, so two Republicans voted against it.
Okay. Just okay.
I spent a half an hour on the phone this afternoon with one of those two.
Okay.
And he represents the county just to the left of Marshall County, DeSoto County.
Okay.
And I said, why did you do that? Why did you vote no? I'm trying to understand. You didn't vote in lockstep
Right.
like we normally see happen with these things. And he said, no. He said, he told me he takes, by the way, his name is Dan Eubanks.
Okay.
He's a minister, got a number of different degrees, some of them from outside the country.
Okay.
And Austria and Mexico, actually.
Mm.
But he said he took an oath, and in his oath, he boils it down to always trying his very hardest to do what's right. And he said that this Poppy project, this $350 million, is wrong for Mississippi.
Mm.
He said it's a disservice to all tax-paying Mississippians. He said he believes in free market.
Okay.
And he said, taking taxpayer money and using it to fund private corporations that are worth millions already,
Right.
sometimes billions,
Right.
is just not right. So that's what he told me. And he told me that, we ought to do something about the grocery tax before we ever consider doing anything like that. And instead of using that money for companies like that, he said, I feel like it should be used to make Mississippi small businesses into larger Mississippi businesses.
Okay. Well, I can't argue with that.
I liked all of it.
Yeah.
I liked all of it. I did ask him another question about minority contracting,
Okay.
and that was a much more, nuanced answer. But the man took the time to speak to me about it, and I took something away from it. I'm going to try and funnel it into an upcoming article or something. But it was impressive to me that he didn't go along with the crowd. Now, I don't know what the history is.
Right.
One thing I do know also, this guy's going to run against Wicker. So there's three, Wicker and two other Republicans.
Yes.
Two other Republicans are running to unseat Wicker
Okay.
in the U.S. Senate.
All right.
Republicans. Then Democrat Ty Pinkins
Mm-hmm.
is
Right.
running to unseat Wicker.
Right.
So we'll see how all that goes.
Right. Right.
Can you imagine? You rattled off kind of a list a little bit ago.
Yes.
Can you imagine what 350 million could do to any,
Yeah.
the literacy issue,
Right.
the maternal health care issue.
Right.
Right.
We could eliminate the high infant mortality rate here.
Eliminate.
Yeah.
With that kind of resources.
Right. We could.
But no, instead, and Monty, it just popped in my head. I didn't write it down, but I remember one of the things he said to me, and this is just like the dagger. If the whole thing is not enough already, and you still have life left in you,
Sure.
this would be the dagger.
Okay.
He said, by my math, the best I could figure it out, we will not be net positive. Those are the words he used.
Yes.
From this project for 26 years.
Wow.
With all the incentives
Right.
and the tax deferments and different
Right.
things.
Yeah.
Now, they do have certain stuff that they got to do, but
Yeah.
remember, Mississippi's already spent millions preparing this site
Yes.
just to stand there with the fishing pole and
Yeah.
try to reel somebody in onto
Right.
it,
Right. Right.
The site preparation,
Right.
the access to the interstates, the
Yeah.
water, sewage, electric, all that kind of stuff.
Sure. Right.
Already spent millions.
And who's to say what they will do at the end of that 26-year period?
Right.
A lot of companies leave after that and look for another sucker.
When they know that states are willing to bribe them for their business, sure.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting phone discussion. So we'll see. And he told me I could hang on to his number. Anything going on over here you want to know about? Give me a call. I'll let you know.
Wow.
So I thought that was that's really the first white Republican that I've attempted to speak to many of them.
Sure.
But that's really the first one outside of a social venue that gave me more than 60 seconds. Normally, as soon as I tell somebody I'm writing for a black newspaper,
Right.
they got all kinds of reasons they can't be talking.
Wow. Okay.
You must have assumed something like that.
Well, yeah, that's true. It's
Yeah.
not surprising.
Yeah.
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 They won't talk to us either, huh?
I got told by one guy, now he just passed away about 6 months ago, but I got told by this one guy that there's a law against this, and I'm on private property. I said, this is the Mississippi State Capitol. It ain't private property. And
Wow.
he told me I had no right to be in the parking lot, when he was getting out of his car. I was trying to talk to people on their way into work in the morning.
Yes, yes.
When they might have a cup of coffee in their hand and a bag
Yeah.
of donuts and, maybe a little bit of pleasantries before going into work all day.
Yes.
He did not appreciate that.
Yeah.
Anyway. So then, so that's the Poppy Project, and then this other thing that we talked about already quite a bit, Joni. On Wednesday, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in New Orleans. You know, they cover Mississippi, Louisiana, and Texas, and they're going to be arguing this Jackson Airport case. And this was brought up by this guy Josh Harkin, senator from Rankin County.
Right.
They want to get their grubs, right. They want to get their hands on that part of that airport money.
Yes.
Part for now, all of it later.
There you go.
You know, so yeah, this has been going on forever, and now and this one here is not going to be with a panel the day after tomorrow. On Wednesday, it's not going to be with the panel of the Fifth Circuit. It will be with the entire Fifth Circuit.
Okay.
So the 17 active judges, I guess, is what it amounts to, and that's 9 o'clock. And if any of the viewers are interested in that, you can go to the just type in the browser Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, and when that first page pops up, if you slowly slide down the left-hand side of the page, you'll see there's a link there to listen to what they call the en banc hearings, ENBANC, or meaning the whole court. They have a special courtroom for when all the justices are there, and you can listen to those oral arguments. So that's going to be Wednesday at 9 a.m. And then, last but not least, Monty, is tomorrow at 9 a.m. Same thing. The full court is going to listen to this lifetime denial of voting rights for felons in Mississippi.
Yes.
And last August, and we've talked about this before on the show, but it's just something we're passionate about. Last August, we had a panel say that the Mississippi that this was unconstitutional and broached people's civil rights and Eighth Amendment and I forget the actual section 214 or 241 or something like that. And you know, you've already done your penance, you've already completed your sentence,
Right.
but yet still in Mississippi and 9 other states, you don't get to vote.
Right.
So the punishment after the punishment.
Right.
And so this panel, though, in August said that's unconstitutional. You can't do that. And everybody got all excited. And then the Attorney General of our state, Lynn Fitch, she all she got to do is the state Attorney General is ask them to have a full court review. And they granted her request. Because she don't want that.
No.
She don't want upwards of 200,000 people
Right.
being able to vote that had been restricted from voting previously.
It would change the dynamics of the politics in Mississippi. It
No
would
doubt.
be dramatic. And because of that is the reason why they won't allow it. Yeah.
So to hell with fairness,
Yeah.
equity, Christianity,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So the state, you know, so the judges, you know, they had their chance to have, you know, the judge and jury and all that.
Sure.
But then after that, the state takes on that role. Does it
Right.
of their own
Yes.
volition.
Yeah.
They don't
So-
need a judge no more.
Right. So the punishment is just elongated. It
Yeah.
just persists. It's forever.
And so same thing. That's tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock Central Time. Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. Just type in Fifth Circuit Court if you want to take a look at that. Apparently, each side is going to be given 30 minutes to press their case, and then those active judges, or the 17 judges that are appointed out of the pool. I want to say they have 26 total, but some of them are like senior status and
Okay.
don't sit in on every case or whatever. So, but the majority of them, in other words, will hear that tomorrow, 30 minutes from each side, and then make a decision. Who knows? Maybe the decision will be out by the time we come next week.
That would be good. I'd love to hear some good news on that. I just think that it's just very oppressive
Yeah.
to do that. You know, how much time does one have to serve?
Yeah.
Okay, they were convicted of a felony. They were punished. Isn't that enough?
But I mean, this is the Constitution of 1890.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do we
In
hear,
Mississippi.
do we hear anything? Do we hear anything from this legislator about updating the Constitution?
No.
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 They want to keep everything anchored back in the day.
That's it. Yeah. 1890 Mississippi.
You can have a civil rights museum, but you can't have it by itself. So you got to put it side by side with a
Right. Right.
Mississippi
Tougaloo College
history.
can't be placed there.
No. Right.
When you walk in there, it's really not the Civil Rights Museum because it starts in enslavement.
Right.
And I'm like, my goodness, what is this? And of course, black people are further disrespected because the being black is not capitalized on any of the exhibits. And they're allowed to keep that. It's disrespectful when someone in charge could just go through the exhibits with a Sharpie and correct that problem because black is a proper noun.
And even the AP finally came around on that.
Yes, they did.
I'm trying to remember what year that was.
It was right around the time of the murder of George Floyd. So
Yeah.
it was around 2020. And anyone else who is doing this, it's not only antiquated, but it's really Neanderthal.
Right.
That's not taken into account. It should be, people should be respected, but because black people aren't respected, this is what we have. We are lowercase individuals
Yeah.
with a second class, or if not a 50th class status of citizens.
Always got to
Shit,
work
yeah.
harder for everything.
Yeah, doesn't make any sense.
Well, Monty, that's the list. We
Yeah.
made it through the list. Looks like we ran right about 40 minutes or so tonight.
Okay.
Did you have any thoughts in closing us out?
Well, let's see. Let us look in it on each other. Take care to make sure that everyone is being served, like in terms of the water situation.
Right.
You know, if people are without heat, let's see what we can do to help with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's something else. I've been wondering about people who are so-called squatting in different properties.
Tough
How
thought.
how are they making it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really a life and death situation. It was last week.
And we didn't hear of any deaths. Well, that was from a fire though. There was one death with a fire.
Right, because people are trying to start,
Yeah,
to keep
to
warm, so
stay
they're
warm.
starting fires or they're using space heaters in places where the wiring is poor.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think there's been 8 deaths associated with
The storm.
with the storm last
Wow.
week. So.
Okay, everybody. Well, thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Sizzling in Mississippi. We'll be sure to see you back next Monday evening at 6:30, and take good care of yourselves and each other. Till then.